I have Corinne Mbongo Golden, and then I have Dave Subin.
My name is Corinne Mbongo Golden. I've been living in the Bronx for 17 years. I'm a ascendant of the holy shit country called Congo and Ethiopia. For those who have cell phone, you love the Congo. Okay. Now, I'm here to explain to you a little story about the way I live in the first country of the world, the first megapole of the world called New York City. I have no heat during the cold season. I have no hot water. I have mold. I have cockroaches, rats, moss, all of that. I guess that's called good condition for a tenant. That's 5-star, and I love it. But I want to tell you one thing. At least in the Congo, when we had the war, the harassment was free. In my case, I pay to be harassed. I pay when I ask for repair, Dracula, because I don't have that name landlord, I don't know what that means. Because he's not a landlord, he's a Dracula. He's a Dracula, and his name is David Dracula D3. So I'm going to tell you a story. When I asked for heat, he called me African nigger, go back to the jungle monkey. Yes, and this is not the commander-in-chief. He is being rewarded by the RGB and the people of New York City, and they need to be known. Thank you, because you have United Nations here. You are the one that want to show everybody else how to live. How come you cannot fix it here? How come you have the nerve to go tell everybody how they're supposed to live, but right here, you don't give a damn? Then you come and ask us to give more money to be harassed? I said no, because your law, in your book, in your Caucasian world, harassment and bullying is against the law. So what are you doing? Second of all, if you don't have the money to be a landlord, don't be a landlord. You're making 41 cents out of $1. Plus you have the Dracula list and all the weapons that you use. Plus you have your developer, your Dracula bank, and all those things. So what's going on? You want more? What more you want? I mean, this is ridiculous. #1 country of the world, and that's the way you deal with your people? You are like us. You are like us. You are not doing the right thing. But RGB, when you vote tonight, you need to know that you're not going to be on the right side of history. Thank you. You continuously reward Dracula. Dracula is everywhere. Anyway, he's nesting in the Bronx more than ever. Thanks to you and your gentrification.
Thank you. So just as our next speaker is David Subin, followed by Robert Thibault.
That's not David.
I'm sorry.
That's
Muy buenas noches.
I'm sorry, are you David Subin?
I'm sorry, sir. My name is Elio Varela.
Oh, I think our next speaker is David Subin, to be followed by Robert Thibault.
He is here coming to speak.
What's that?
You know here now?
Okay.
He's right next to you. That's right David.
There. David.
Oh.
No, the other guy. David, go to the mic.
Who is David?
Hi, my name is Dave Subin. I'm a member of CASA. So here it is, 2019, and for the past 30 years, we have the same thing. Every year we get a rent increase, yet real wages are not growing in kind, which the Rent Guideline Board's own report corroborates. If we were to get another rent increase without a similar wage increase, tenants would be even more rent burdened, which would lead to more evictions and homelessness, which is already at a record high of over 60,000 and counting, not to mention those in the streets, doubled up with families or friends for the last several years. Keep in mind, we are not only trying to halt rent increases now, but to correct the huge increases suffered during the Bloomberg and Giuliani administrations, where the mayors appointed landlord-friendly RGB members who passed huge unjustified rent increases, sometimes double or triple the inflation rate. Also, landlords of rent-stabilized apartments have a safety net called a profit hardship exemption, which means that as a landlord, if your building brings in less than 5% profit in a year, you can apply for this special exemption to have your rent increase beyond what would be legal. Ironically, few take advantage of this because it would mean they have to open their books and show and prove to the city that they actually struggle due to low profits, and this is why for the past several years there has never been a successful attempt to qualify. So landlords resort to other more profitable methods with less scrutiny, such as MCIs, where in 2017 landlords were granted over $180 million in IAIs, preferential leases, vacancy bonuses, as well as nuisance fees on their rent bill, like air conditioner, washing machine, and refrigerator surcharges to be paid in perpetuity. And this is excluding the many tax and legal benefits loopholes on their real property, like depreciation, tax exemption credits in return for providing so-called affordable housing.
Thank you.
Like low-income tax credit on J51. So to wrap up, today landlords make over 40 cents on the dollar. Meanwhile, 1 out of 4 rent-stabilized tenants live below the poverty line. The poverty rate in New York City is over 15%, and the past 2 personal bankruptcy filings has been risen over 10% of landlords.
Thank you. Thank you. I have Robert Thibault, followed by Clara Steen Gardener. Robert Thibault.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? All right. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has a right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care and necessary social services. So then if housing is a human right, then it should not be monetized. Housing is a human right that should not be monetized. Do you understand that concept? I hope so. There are over 60,000 people sleeping in New York City's shelter system every single goddamn night. As of June 3rd, 2019, a one-bedroom in New York City hit an all-time high of how much? $2,980. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? No one can afford that shit. Maybe except you if you make $100,000. I don't know how much you make. Now, Stuytown and Peter Cooper's Village, 2019 Affordable Housing Lottery opened in March 2019 with an AMI of how much? 165%, and an unaffordable $2,975 a month for a one-bedroom. That's the affordable housing scam. And because of the lack of empathy of city agencies and elected officials, my friend is now being served with a marshal's notice in a Bronx apartment full of black mold. Black mold gave this person sinusitis, pneumonia, and cancer. And the landlord still wants to rent. Enough is enough. The Rent Guidelines Board is violating human rights and perpetuating a dying neoliberal order that may kill us all. Rent freeze now. And I have a copy for all of you. Please don't throw it out.
Clara Steen Gardener. And I'm sorry, Clara Steen, and to be followed by Roma Irizarry.
Nova.
Good evening. My name is Clara Steen Gardener, and I have been living in my building for over 30 years. And the 30 years I've been paying increase. I'm now retired. I cannot afford an increase. I had to fight my landlord because I have a disability. Another family member in my building has a disability. And I had to take the landlord to that court at Reed Street for him to give the services that we need as tenant in the building. Every year paying a rent increase is not easy on my retirement. Because when I pay that, I have to go to the soup kitchen to eat for the rest of the month. Is that fair? No. I don't think so. It's not right. The landlord is making lots of money. And when it comes to repair, I have to fight him. I have to go to the court. I have to go downtown to Reed Street. Every department that housing have an issue, I have to go and fight for myself along with other members in my building. Because all he do is just collects the money. Plus, when you need work done to the apartment, he don't hire contractors who know what they're doing. He hire the super. The super come fix something today, tomorrow it broke. There goes another fight. There goes another fight with the landlord. I'm tired of fighting. We should get this decrease, go about his business.
Thank you.
David.
I have Roma Irizarry. I'm sorry. Leah?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What was her name?
Clara Steen.
Miss Clara Steen, who just spoke. Where are you?
She's right there.
No, she's got
Oh, here.
She's halfway.
I have a quick question for you. Thank you very much for testifying. It's very moving. You said that you suffer from disabilities and that you're retired. I would like if you could kindly please explain why, because some of my fellow board members, this is a question that comes up. The question is always, why do a rent freeze for everyone if there is dree and scree to freeze the rent for folks with a disability or who are seniors? Can you explain a little bit why dree and scree may not work for everyone? Right? It's very important to elaborate so that we all understand.
Give her the mic, thank you.
Because my son, when I got the apartment, right, I had it in myself and my son's name. He don't live in the apartment because he's now married and lives on his own. But he does not want to remove his name so that I lose a home. So when I apply for screen and both of us name on the lease, they say I'm not entitled to because of his income. And he has a family to take care of.
Right, so the income may not,
So the income,
okay.
So the income, I don't get income because of that situation. And I definitely can't take my sons out because he is my protector and my needs and my wants.
Okay.
I have Roma Irizarry followed by Bienvenida Paez.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Roma Irizarry, RDH, Hostos graduate, class of 88, Phi Theta Kappa. I'm a member of CASA. I have lived in 917 Ogden Avenue for over 20 years. My landlord is Ogden Avenue Associates / Eisenstein Realty, very, very well off. I'm here today to demand a rent freeze and MCI reimbursement. Tenants like myself need it because when I signed into a lease agreement, I had what I understood to be a legal binding agreement, which I understand that with my new or renewed lease, I would be expected to pay a standard regulated amount, which one could generally factor into their monthly income. These MCIs are not my responsibility. 40% of my rent is already understood to be directed toward repairs and upgrades. MCIs are major capital inconveniences. I am not in business with my landlord. I am not getting a return on my investment in my landlord's building. I personally invested over $20,000 of my own money to upgrade my apartment and did not receive a rent reduction for it. Okay, I suffered a car accident in 2016. My salary as a dental hygienist propelled from $95,000 to $25,000 a year. My cost of living has increased. I am not a landlord as my father was, who owned 36 tenement buildings. May he rest in peace. I worked my entire life, and now I live on a fixed income, and a fixed insufficient income. And my bills have not changed. My requirements, my monthly output is about $4,000 a month, and my income on disability is $2,000 a month. You do the math. So I'm borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Meanwhile, I worked my entire life, and I'm put in this situation, and I'm a good tenant, okay? And I like to live nice. That's why I invest my own money, not waiting for people to do things for me.
Thank you.
Okay, but, so I'm being tasked with these accumulated MCIs because they're packing them on one after one after one. These MCIs are major capital inconvenience, which causes major stress on our very most vulnerable people in our community, like myself.
Thank you.
It steals our ability to manage our financial budget and individual situations of planning. Please help us to keep our homes. We lost approximately 5 tenants last month, because they couldn't afford it, and they lost everything. They couldn't even afford to move, so all their stuff ended up in the lobby.
Thank you.
That's sad.
Thank
you for your time.
I have Bienvenida Paez, followed by Kim Statuto. And Bienvenida, I believe, Bienvenida Paez, could the interpreter come to the mic as well? Okay, we'll bring it up to you. Are you all the way at the top?
She's all the way on the top,
Okay.
on the left.
We're coming.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Bienvenida Paez, and I am a member of CASA. I have lived in 3534 Bronx Boulevard, apartment 6K, Bronx, New York, 10467 for 15 years now. My landlord is 3534 BBLC Martin Katz Management. I am here to demand a rent-free tenant like myself needed because I am disabled, because their negligence. For 34 years, I was working as a charity worker. But because of their negligence of not giving any heat, any repairs, I became disabled, and they don't care about it, okay? The manager told me that he pays the inspectors when they come to my apartment to see all the repairs needed. He paid the inspectors, so they take it off, and I have to go to court. They took me to court because I had a credit in my rent, and they want to take that credit. They took me to court after I won in the court, and they want to take the credit that I had in court. And still today, I have to go back to court with them, and they pay. Just this week, I have 2 inspectors coming into my house, and they pay the inspector to take everything off. Is that fair? Should they get more money from us? I don't have any money. The money that I get is for myself and my daughter, who also became disabled because of them. Okay? Now, they have to fix the floor in my apartment. I fell, and I have 2 tears on my left knee. Okay? And then the manager told me that he doesn't care what happened to anybody. He only cares about getting paid. He told me that he paid to the inspector because he can. He was boasting about it. He harassed me, he bullied me, and I don't get any help because when I go to court, I get the runaround. Okay?
Thank you.
And they give more time to fix, more time to repair, but they don't do the repair. Like
Thank you.
now, I have to go back to court in 2 weeks. And what's going to happen? I'm going with the paper with a lie because he already paid the inspector.
Thank
okay?
you.
And you want what? To raise the rent? We can. He already
Thank
raised
you.
my rent, and he wasn't supposed to, and he did it anyway because he paid people. There's a lot of fraud going on.
Thank
a lot
you.
of fraud, where the tenants are the ones suffering. We are suffering. Our children are suffering. The disabled people are suffering, and we don't have a place to go when we get kicked out of the apartment because these people are pocketing all the money that they could get. This
Thank you.
is not fair. We want rent freeze. We want rent freeze. We want rent freeze.
I have Kim Statuto, and then Pedro Borret.
I got you. All right, you're good. Yeah? Okay, you got it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ms. Statuto,
I'm ready.
good evening.
Good evening. I'm a tenant and a resident of 25 years in the Bronx. I live in a building that has no gas for 9 months due to a landlord, my landlord, putting illegal piping. Okay? You want me to give him an increase in my rent when I have no gas and over 500 violations on the building? And he owns 23 buildings by himself. I don't think he needs a rent increase. I don't think he needs MCIs. I don't think he needs IAIs. I don't think he needs none of that. He needs to take the money he is getting from these 23 buildings and put it back in my building and get me my gas back, okay? I cannot cook. I have to eat in the street, okay? I have to spend the little bit of money, fixed income, yes. I have to take that money, give him rent, plus eat in the street because I can't cook in my home. Do my landlord need an rent increase? I don't think so. I don't think so. I need a rebate on the money I have spent on food to feed me, not my family, me, because I can't cook in my apartment, okay? So when you ask me about rent increase for Abdul Khan, no thank you. Give me his money, okay? So I can get my gas back. Find out why I still have no gas for 9 months. Thank you.
Ms. Statuto.
Kim.
Ms. Statuto, I just want to say that there's a representative of HCR up at the top of the stairs, and it may be worth consulting with out in the lobby. Maybe worth consulting with him.
Thank you. We are in court with him. We got AEP, HPD, OEP, whoever up our ass right now. And you want to know something? He still has not put the gas back on. He's been ordered 3 different times. Have this gas back on by these dates. Guess what? It's still not on. So I thank you for that. But
thank you.
All these representatives ain't shit getting done.
I have Pedro Borret and then Geronimo Jourdain. Pedro Borret.
I saw him. Oh, he's right there. He's sitting right in front of me. No, Pedro. Pedro first.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Pedro, recuérdate oraciones para que ella pueda interpretar, ¿ok?
Tengo muchas cosas en mi cabeza.
Sí.
Vine con buenas ideas para expresarla aquí. Pero he oído tanto que lo voy a decir más de lo mismo. Solamente voy a pedirle a ustedes.
Good afternoon. I have a lot of things on my head, and I came here with good ideas to express them to you, but I've been hearing all the things that I have been hearing. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself.
Vivo, perdón, no le dije mi nombre, Pedro Buré, ustedes lo oyeron. Vivo en 1414 de Walton, 1416. Tengo 22 años viviendo ahí, 22 años de 33 años que tengo en Estados Unidos. Nunca me han dado una nevera que sirva en 22 años. Me dan la nevera cuando la bota otro Tena. Los dos edificios están podridos de cucarachas, ratones, ratas, ciempiés y cacata.
Yeah. So my name is Pedro Bure. I didn't introduce myself. I live at 1414 Walton Street, 1414, 1416. I've been living there for 22 years out of the 33 years that I have been in the U.S. In those 22 years, I have never had a working fridge. They always give me the fridge that a different tenant is throwing in the trash or that they remove from a different tenant. Both buildings are putrid with cockroaches and rats and ants and spiders and millipedes.
Hace un promedio de 4 o 5 meses cambiaron el súper. El famoso súper, que no hablaba inglés, no habla inglés, solamente decía por la mañana que todo el mundo lo oía desde la calle. Perdonen ustedes la palabra que voy a decir. Esta gente se joden. Estos tenas no sirven. Y así duró un siglo ahí, más de 15 años, diciendo lo mismo todos los días y Rolando sabiéndolo. Ahora tenemos otro súper, sábelo todo, porque vino con tanto ánimo de trabajar, porque todo el mundo quiere venir aquí a trabajar y producir, sin ser electricista, sin ser carpintero, ningún título de categoría. Los súper yo entiendo que son para botar la basura, mapear las escaleras y acabar con los insectos. No, él vino como jefe, regañando y maltratando a cierto tena. Primero a mí.
So about 4 to 5 months ago, they changed super. We got a new super. The previous super was famous. He didn't speak English, and he was always yelling, and excuse the word I'm going to use right now, but he would always yell into this. You could hear him on the street. These tenants ain't worth shit. Like, these tenants are always bugging us. We had that tenant for centuries, and now the new super wants to come in like a know-it-all. He is not an electrician. He's not a carpenter. He has no titles that I know of. And from what I understand, supers are supposed to take out the trash, mop, and get rid of insects. But he came in and he wants to be the boss.
Nuestro landlord, muy bueno por cierto, porque el ser humano todo el mundo es bueno, ahora vendió el edificio sin comunicarle a los tenas. Fueron a mi apartamento los nuevos dueños con carta a presentarse como nuevo dueño, porque ni tuvo la cortesía ese landlord de decirle a los tenas en pequeñas reuniones que está vendiendo su edificio, porque es de él puede venderlo, pero no esperar que venda para que un nuevo dueño venga a tocarme la puerta mía y decirme lo que yo tengo que hacer.
Thank you.
So our landlord, who was a good landlord on the human aspect, because on a human level we can all be good, but our landlord, turns out he sold the building and he didn't tell anyone. He didn't communicate with the tenants. So the new owner of the building showed up in the building, giving us a letter informing us that he's the new owner. And the old landlord didn't have the courtesy to tell the tenants that he sold the building during one of the small meetings. He could have sold the building, it's his building to sell, but he didn't even have the courtesy to let us know.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Geronimo Gilmore, to be followed by Juana Huaita.
Solamente quiero que ustedes como representantes de la ley manden una comisión al edificio para que no le cuenten, para que vean que le han lavado la cara al edificio y está peor. Para que nadie le cuente. Un inspector que sea serio, vaya al edificio, chequee escalera, apartamento por apartamento, para que veas. Yo le abro las 4 puertas del mío, para que vean que taparon la cara nada más. No ha reparado nada, nunca ha reparado nada. Gracias.
I just want to say that you as representatives of the law should send a commission so that nobody can tell you the story and you can see it for yourselves. You should send an inspector, a serious inspector to go see that the face of the building was washed, but the building itself is actually worse. You should go apartment by apartment, and I myself will open all the doors in my apartment for you to see.
Thank you. Geronimo Gilmore and Juana Hawaita.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Geronimo Gilmore. I live in the 2794 Valentine Avenue in the Bronx, zip code 10458. I live in those wrong-colored rent-stabilized apartment. I say wrong-colored because when something is stabilized, it's understandable that it might be stable. I mean, stable is something that move, stay fixing there. In other words, stay freeze, don't move. But in my case, in every case, the wrong-colored rent stabilized is always moving up. I don't understand why something that's moving can be stabilized. In other words, that association, Rent Stabilization Association, the bunch of mockers, they think we are what, dumb, stupid, or what? Because that Rent Stabilization Association should not exist. The so-called rent stabilized should not, that name is not the right name. Because when something stabilized, it stay in one position, in one place all the time. When something moving up, even at 1%, a fraction of 1%, is not stable. It's moving. Why is moving? Supposed to be in one position. It's stabilized. It's stable. So that's the wrong name. There might be change. They start playing with us. They always play with us. We're not kids. We're adults. They're respecting us. They should be call it the right name.
Thank you. I have Juana Huaita and Velvet Ross. That's the last one we got. 37. Do I have Juana Huaita? Okay, and then I have Velvet Ross. Velvet Ross. I have Robin Ferguson. Robin Ferguson. Velvet Ross is coming, great. If Robin Ferguson is here, she could start.
Hi, my name's Robin Ferguson. I'm a member of CASA, and I live at 1892.
I'm sorry, could you just lower the mic? We have a little trouble hearing. Thank you.
Just hold it.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, my name's Robin Ferguson. I'm a member of CASA, and I live at 1892 Morris Avenue in the Bronx. I've lived there for 2 years and 4 months, and the building landlord is now Mount Hope Renaissance because it was recently sold. I feel as though our building and a lot of these buildings in New York need rent freezes. Not because of anything other than the fact that they are not taken care of. We can play like it's supposed to be perfect, but it's like putting lipstick on a pig. These buildings may look nice on the outside, but if you go into these people's apartments, they look like hell and they're dangerous. In my building alone, I was put into this building by the Help USA office on Sedgwick. And when I complained that the building was illegal and I'm in an illegal basement apartment, I was told either take that or go to a shelter. As of now, our building is, like I said, was bought by someone else, and they're supposed to be fixing it. But when I took them the paperwork showing from the city and the state that my apartment was illegal, I have yet to hear from them other than to ask me where my rent is. As far as I'm concerned, it's kind of funny that people have complained and complained and complained, and we're told to go to all these offices for help, but all of these offices only get paid not to help you. I've been told by the Help USA office on Burke Street or Burke Avenue that they were going to help me to find a new place. They have yet to do that. But then they asked me, why does Sedgwick put me into this apartment building knowing doggone straight it was illegal? These landlords are given checklists of what they're supposed to have fixed before they rent these places, but they still rent them to them, and the city is still giving them money. And if you don't pay your rent, they take you to court. But then you're told by the lawyers, don't pay the rent because they haven't fixed anything. So you need to take care of that first before we start upping people's rents.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. I believe I next have Velvet Ross, is that right? Velvet Ross?
Yes.
And then followed by Maria Boudin. Ms. Ross?
Did they say? I said her. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Did you call Ana Marmolejos before?
I did not.
No.
Oh, okay. Good evening. My name is Velvet Ross. I live on 354 East Mashulu Parkway South, and my landlord is Mashulu Partners. The organization Picture the Homeless is an American homeless person-led rights organization founded in 1999 based here in New York City. It focuses on human rights, housing, police violence, and social justice issues. When I worked in advertising on Madison Avenue, I used to donate to those organizations. I never thought that I would be part of that population. You see, the entrenched belief that housing is a right to all and that we all deserve to live in a healthy, safe, and livable environment despite your race, sex, gender, nationality, sexuality are beliefs that I stand by. After undergraduate school, I moved into this apartment. I am a child of NYCHA, so I already knew about housing issues. I became an active member of my community. As the great-granddaughter of someone who left slavery and was able to build a school and a church, I lived with that pride. I made sure that I was an active part of the fabric of my community. I was an amateur night at the Apollo winner. I'm a former Miss Black World New York 2004. I'm a Brio Award winner. I even received a citation from Councilwoman Melissa Viverito, right? I became active on my community board. I have a BA from Brooklyn College and a master's from Sarah Lawrence College, and I'm a part of a Greek-led organization, a Black Greek-led organization. However, all of my accomplishments did not escape me from housing hell, and all my respectability did not help me either. From August of 2015 till today, I have been in a battle with my landlord over the right to have a healthy and safe, livable environment. I've dealt with dust, black mold, leaks, illegal wiring, smoke, cockroaches, mice, bed bugs, and lack of heat. Try trying to write in your thesis with a bed bug infestation and a mice infestation concurrently.
Because of this, when the Department of Health finally came to my apartment, the health inspector almost had an asthma attack and had to leave my apartment because the mold was so bad.
Thank you.
I have one more thing to say. So, Frederick Douglass once said, where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where one class is made to feel like society is organized, conspiring to oppress, rob, degrade them, neither persons will be safe. I'm a historian, and when I write about history, I want to know what side of history will I be writing about you on. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Maria Boudin. I have Maria Boudin to be followed by Alison Manuel. I have Maria Boudin to be followed by Alison Manuel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Maria Bhadra. Over the past couple of years, we've been coming to rent board. I have one question and I need an answer now. Over the years we come, we state our cost to you. Nothing. Last year we were here with you. We cite the condition in Niger. We cite the condition at at Jerome Avenue. We cite the condition at Walton Avenue, Grand Concourse, the mom and pop shop being closed, taken over by big Starbucks and other places. Nothing been done. Why? Part of you there are landlords. Landlords not doing anything for tenant in Bronx, Brooklyn, or any other boroughs. You don't see these conditions in Manhattan. You don't see it in Syosset, Long Island, or any of the island. You all may own your own homes. But we as tenants here and seniors are meeting hell with landlord. I would love for one of you walk the step of a tenant in this neighborhood and see the condition that they are living in with their children. We are individual. We have rights. When the rent board is going to look at it and says no to landlord. Our mayor is living at Gracie Mansion. We, the tenant here, who is homeless and everything, he's paying his rent. Yet still, he's a landlord. He have his house in Brooklyn. And I'm sure you all have houses everywhere else.
Thank you.
Right? Casa is the only place we can talk with. Landlord would have 150 charges against them. What they get? Abatement for rent.
Thank you.
They get people who fix their apartment, not certified. What are you doing about it?
Thank you. Is Alison? Is Alison Manuel? Okay, and then Alison. After Alison, I have Judith Marshall. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Alison Manuel, and I am a member of the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition, and I have been a Bronx resident for over 10 years. Last year, I came before you all with others from our tenant association to testify and to ask for a rent freeze, to ask for a rent rollback, as at that time we were organizing to fight back against a major capital improvement that was being proposed for our building. And in that year, that major capital improvement has been approved. And that means that for many families, that's going to mean a rent increase of over $1,000, around $1,000, depending on the size, per year. And this is in a building where regularly the buildings that they've supposedly modernized continue to break down. This is in a building where the roofs that they supposedly pointed continue to cause black mold in the 6th floor every time it rains. And it's also at the hands of a landlord who in his application to raise our rents submitted falsified checks, submitted several duplicate checks, almost $100,000 worth of duplicate checks. And when we called this out to the state, he resubmitted more duplicate checks. Do you think that if anybody in this room lied or cheated to the state, they would be rewarded with a raise at their job? Do you think if anybody in this room lied on their tax returns, they would get rewarded with a tax rebate? I don't think so. I don't think that they would get rewarded. And I don't think that it is just or right or fair that time and time again, landlords that have this kind of business plan not only do not get sent to jail, they get rewarded with major capital improvements and by you all who vote year after year to raise our rents.
Thank you.
So I don't know what else to call that besides structural racism. And I want to ask you all to really think hard and clear about whether or not you want to do the work of white supremacy, because you do have a choice. You do have a choice. Whether or not you think that you have to do that work, you actually don't have the choice. You do have the choice to not do that.
Thank you. So next I have Judith Marshall and then Manuel Acevedo. But I just like to make an announcement. So Judith Marshall and then Manuel Acevedo. But I just want to remind everybody that registration for speaking ends at 8, which is in about a half an hour. So if you have not yet registered but would like to register, please do so in the next half hour. And if that could be reiterated in Spanish, I'd appreciate that.
So, solamente para hacer un anuncio, para la registración para testificar se termina a las 8 en punto. Así que si usted está interesada o interesado en hablar en el micrófono, por favor regístrese a partir de ahora hasta las 8 en punto.
Gracias. Judith Marshall. Judith Marshall.
Where's Judith? Oh, she's all the way in the back. Let me take her off.
I think so.
Inspiration.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Judith Marshall. I live at 1310 Sheridan Avenue for 25 years. I am a CASA member, a retired senior on a fixed income. Our landlord is the fifth and the most difficult one in the. My landlord is the most. Our landlord is the fifth one. Since I'm living in the building, he's the most difficult one. In the winter, there's never enough heat. I have to use a heater to stay warm. I pay my rent. Why do I have to use up my income paying extra Con Ed bill? That's not nice. Around the 20th of the month, Around the 20th of the month, right between my door is my rent bill. I live at 3B. Why do I have to ask my neighbor on the 6th floor for my rent receipt? Whoever is putting the rent receipts in between the door doesn't know the difference between 3B and 6B. When I pay my rent, it's between tenant and landlord, not tenant and neighbors. No one should know the amount of rent someone else pays. We need to be treated with respect, human beings. How many times do I call your office and the calls are never returned? My landlord only cares about the money. The building is filthy. We don't deserve to be living under these conditions. There's a lot of little dead mouse running around the apartment. I have to be calling my grandson to remove them. I can't stand looking at them. This is ridiculous, and you asking for a rent. Oh, come on. Give me a break here. Why do I have to go through with this at my age? I'm sorry, but you guys, if you have an elderly relative, would you like in the winter that you have to use a heater because you're not getting enough heat? This is unbelievable. I'm asking for a rent roll back on behalf of myself and the other seniors and disabled. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Manuel Acevedo and Juan Carlos Escobar. So first Manuel Acevedo and then Juan Carlos Escobar. Are either of those people here? Oh, okay.
He's bilingual in his chatting. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juan Carlos Escobar Salazar, and I am a member of Movement of Justice in El Barrio. We are here today to express our fierce opposition to the raise of rent across the city, to the raise of rent of livelihood of those who have the hardest of times at affording to live here. A city that truly belongs to every single one of us. Apart from raising the rent to those with the lowest resources, landlords often ignore the bad situation of our apartments and buildings. We are more than certain that none of you have gone through the crisis that many of us have gone through. You do not even fathom what it is to fight day by day, hoping that you can feed your children and still keep a roof above your head. A year ago, we were all here and we went through the same process. You sitting there and pretending to hear us, but you guys went and voted in favor for the raise anyway. These kind of hearings should be absolutely neutral and be looking after the little guy. The truth is that you do not dare to put yourself in our shoes, even for one single day. Do not think with your wallets, think with your conscience and with compassion of your fellow human beings. With respect to those who suffer the most, but who fight the hardest.
No al aumento de renta.
No al aumento de renta. No al aumento de renta.
Next I have Irving Bennett and then Arya Manuel. I left her up here. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Irvin Bennett. I live at 215 East 164th Street for the past 28 years. Since August last year, we have no gas. The landlord have 225 violation. Our landlord is David Einstein. In my community, we are living to, for the past 2 years, they built 2-story unit. Today that I'm speaking, they're building 2 more in my community. Make 4-story unit in my community. And I leave on you guys to fill them up. Because when you raise the rent, people are going to get evicted and their storage full up. They are all investors. Every landlord is investors. And they are in the backs of New Yorkers. We are all senior citizens. I am on fixed income. I cannot take the more rent increase. Please, listen to our cry. Don't take it for a joke. Because we, the citizens of New York, are pushing out. They are pushing out from the Bronx, from Brooklyn, from Harlem, Harvard City. They are pushing us out. Because you guys give increases. Stop it. You have to come to some conclusion and stop it. Only you can stop it. We can't. You have to stop it. Stop, give them increases. They have MCI, another way of making money for the poor tenants. Stop it. You can stop it. You have the right to stop it. The city appoint you guys, the 9 of you, to give the tenants rights. Not the landlord right, the tenants right. We need a right. We need someone to stand for us. There's no one to stand for but you. And if you turn us down, where can we go? Nowhere can we go because you turn us down.
Thank you.
So tonight, don't turn back on us. Don't fill up those storage units because people are getting evicted and leave their apartments. The kids going to get evicted. The kids going to get displaced.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Arya Manuel and then Avorio Rosas. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Thank you. My name is Arya Manuel, and I'm here to speak on something that has been repeated, but I'm going to mention it again. And I'm not here to yell or complain about services because I've been one of the lucky ones that I live in a building that gives good services. I was an organizer in the House Point section of the Bronx. I was a building manager, and I am a tenant. So I've been on both sides of the street. As an organizer, I did organize the tenants in SEPCO development, and we had captain floors for each floor, and they were responsible for what happened in the buildings. Of course, these were Section 8 buildings and pump buildings, the buildings that the city could not manage. And they had organizations like Ralph Lansom, Triax, and Rosenberg and Diamond, and some other companies that the city gave those buildings to. I organized some of those buildings through my job, which was at the Bronx Borough President's office. I worked there for 27 years. So I know the cry of the tenants, and I also understand the needs of services that the landlords must give the tenants and provide habitable housing for tenants, especially tenants that live on a fixed income. So I'm here to speak on a fixed income. That's that because I retired after 27 years working for the city of New York. The retirees live on a fixed income. Some of us do not have the pension that other people have. I'm one of the lucky ones because I worked and I saved money and I invested a little bit of money so I can afford to pay the rent that I'm paying now, which is over $1,100 in a one-bedroom apartment. But how long is that going to last? That's the question. I hope to live a long life. I'm 70 years old now. But some of us, like the people that work for the Board of Ed and the crossing guards, they live on a limited income, and they do not have $1,000 to pay the rent. And then, you know, on top of the other bills. So I ask that you, as the rent guidelines board appointed by the mayor and I don't know who else, that you consider people that are on a fixed income, people that work on a low income, and people that really, really need their housing. And those that don't get the services, that the landlord be fined and be held accountable to provide the services that we need.
Thank you.
And the other thing is that I would like for you to consider what some ladies have mentioned here, which is the MCI. That
you.
MCI is attached to the apartment for life. And also, I pay a rent security that they have in the bank accruing income, interest that we don't see. Once upon a time, we were given part of a percentage of that money, but now I don't see it. So I need for you to really consider the people that are on a fixed income.
Thank you.
And that consider the elderly population that they have no other place to move to.
Thank
you very much, and I hope that you did digest what I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah, just let me just make a reminder. Just the reason that we have the 2-minute time is a lot of people came after work. They have work tomorrow. They have family obligations tonight. So by keeping to the 2 minutes, we're just trying to keep it so that people who showed up can have a chance to testify.
Thank you.
Thank you.